Elijah Moore in the open. 10, 5, home run.
Rolling, throwing, touchdown.
John Franklin Myers blasted up the middle.
After meeting up back in the preseason, the Jets and Eagles will do it for real this time in a Week 13 showdown at MetLife Stadium. And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of The Numbers Game presented by WynnBET. Betting is a team sport, so bet together at WynnBET. I'm your host, Dan Graca, joined as always by my pal from the NFL Network. It is Cynthia Frelund. Cynthia, we are into December, if you can believe it. How are things?
Things are great. I love the studio. It looks so good with the poinsettias. You just need to get you some hot cocoa. Everything's great.
I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. That's our pal Katie, who does a great job with the decorations. It was great for Thanksgiving. We got the holiday season, and now we got some football with the New York Jets coming off of a victory last week down in Houston against the Texans, 21-14, and the Jets already eclipsed last year's win total by picking up their third here with still 6 more games to go. Zach Wilson made his return following a 4-game absence, had a rushing touchdown, and you could see working through some rust early in the game, but got better after halftime.
Yeah, definitely. The interesting part when I saw is that when he was not under pressure, Zach Wilson had a 63.6 completion percentage. He was 14 of 22 for 145 yards. So the point is when he's not under pressure, it was looking really, really good.
And on the other side of the ball, the defense, right? They really had a big hand in this game. Second half, they pitch a shutout against that Houston offense, and they collect 5 sacks of Tyrod Taylor in the afternoon. And a couple of guys on that defensive line I think stood out certainly. We're talking about John Franklin Myers and Quinnen Williams. And we'll start with JFM here for a second, Cynthia. Picked up 2 sacks on the afternoon. He's already up to a career-high 6 on the season. And oh, by the way, little tip drill, little interception for JFM. Looking like a DB there trying to take it to the house.
And it was in the first quarter, too. So you always want turnovers in the first quarter, right? That's really helpful. Start out with a bunch of pressure. Then you can actually, that's actually a really big formula for success, for winning. So JFM's like really, he's great. And by my math, he actually had his best game of the entire season. And so like win share, right? So that's my metric, like WAR in baseball, but win share, that was his best one so far.
The Texas native doing a good job going back home and playing in front of family and friends, and you saw it on the field there. And when you talk about Quinnen Williams here, he's up to 6 sacks. He's 1 away from matching his career high. Former 3rd overall pick, again, having a really, really big season on that Jet defensive line.
Look, obviously, the Jets defensive line is the strength of this team. So it's not really surprising to me that they had 9 total pressures. Like that seems like, oh, it's par for the course. However, it should still be celebrated because that is a really nice number in a very game-changing situation.
Pro Bowl voting is underway. I think those 2 guys should merit some serious consideration on that defensive line. Now let's flip back over to the offense here, because when it comes to running the football, I think it's fair to say the Jets probably had their best afternoon of the season. 157 yards on the ground collectively, 4.5 yards a pop, and there was a 3-headed monster that did it. Tevin Coleman probably had his best game in green and white. The steady presence of Ty Johnson making some plays. And how about Austin Walter in his Jets debut up from the practice squad? Another Texas native, Cynthia, from Rice, scores his first NFL touchdown and really was a big spark plug for this offense.
I mean, and did anyone have a better press conference last week? It was so great. He was so much fun to watch. I was a big fan.
No doubt about it here. So when we talk about the running game, let's fast forward to what we can expect to see against the Philadelphia Eagles and their defensive front. So the Jets had their best day of the year last week. Let's say maybe 125 over under. Jets are going to churn out that many yards against the Philadelphia Eagles rush D. What do you think?
I think it's going to be more than that. Why? It's not because the Eagles are a defense to target in the run game, because they are most certainly not, but it's about a commitment to the run being the smartest way to keep the quarterback in a nice situation of passing an opportunity to target a defense that's not necessarily ready for a pass, right? So if you keep them off balance by staying committed to the run, then you can pass better. So I think it's going to be more than 125 total.
Philadelphia only surrenders about 112 a game. I'm with you. I'm going to go a little bit over here, too, because you know what it is. Like you said, you just keep staying committed to that run game, let's say, for 3 quarters. Then by that 4th quarter, hopefully that dam bursts, and then you're able to break off some big plays. That's the key to any good running game. We'll see if the Jets can put that plan into action against the Birds. When we return here on the Numbers Game, we're going to zero in on the opponent from down the turnpike. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. More of the numbers game coming up next, presented by WynnBET. Betting is a team sport. Bet together at WynnBET.
People think betting is about what you know. It's also about who you're with. And with the WynnBET sports betting and casino app, you bet with Wynn.
Ben, look at this. Look at this. New York plus 3.5 at home. They're 44 and 22.
Greg, no New York bets.
Hey!
Hope you didn't bet on Boston.
Shaq, did you bet on Boston?
I went with Greg on this one. He has a whole system. Big payout, big payout, big payout, big payout.
Ooh. Greg. Yes? What is the Greg system? I pick by color mostly.
And welcome back to the numbers game presented by WynnBET. Betting is a team sport. Bet together at WynnBET. All right, Cynthia, so the Eagles flying to town for a second straight week. They were at MetLife Stadium last Sunday and fell to the Giants 13-7. Doesn't happen that often where you see a road team play in the same building on consecutive weeks.
No, it doesn't happen very often at all. And it's like 11 times it's happened, and only 2 times has the team lost twice. So it's an interesting one.
They should have just brought sleeping bags. They could have slept like in the tunnel or something. Therefore, you don't have to go back and forth. It would have been easy. And then when Sunday rolls around, you just put your uniform on, you go out there and play. Kidding, of course, here. But unfortunately, the one number that's going to stand out here when you look at this matchup is that the Jets have never beaten the Philadelphia Eagles. They are 0-11 lifetime. It's the only franchise in the NFL that the Jets have not defeated in their history. I don't know, Cynthia. I think that there's being due and there's being due, and maybe this will be the day for the New York Jets.
I think everyone's due. They're definitely 1 in 12 is way better than 0-11.
Absolutely.
Or
now
1 in 11, I guess it would be. It'd be 1 in 11. Who does the math here? It's me.
As long as the 1 is in the left column, I think that all Jet fans are going to be satisfied if that takes place. So let's look at this Philadelphia Eagles team. And when you start to dissect their strengths and their weaknesses, obviously you have to start at the top with their run game. It's the #1 rushing attack in all the National Football League. Last week, they churned out over 200 yards on the ground against the Giants, but it was the turnovers that did them in. Jets are going to have to stop the run if they want to walk out of there a winner on Sunday.
Absolutely. They have over 200 rushing yards in 3 straight games. And by the way, Jalen Hurts has been their leading rusher in 6 of 12 games. So it's really going to be about stopping, slowing, really containing this run game so that they can get themselves in favorable, so long, 3rd and long, something where they know a pass is going to be coming.
All right, a couple of guys on that Jet defense, Cynthia, you're going to be watching out for, trying to slow down this Eagles offense. How about the linebacker tandem of C.J. Mosley, Quincy Williams? They were all over the field last week, 15 tackles combined, and both of these guys having really, really strong seasons.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they only allowed 14 total yards in coverage, meaning you can't pass against these linebackers. This is the 2nd game in a row where they've really showed up big stopping the pass.
And not to mention the fact Quincy Williams is like a freight train coming out of nowhere and just absolutely nailing defenders, almost knocking out his own guys with some friendly fire. But you like to see that intensity on the football field, especially when they're wearing a Jet uniform. All right, final prop bet of the show here. Let's do a little total points for this football game. Let's say over under 45.5, Jets, Eagles, MetLife. What are you thinking?
So I think that this number is going to be lower because I think both defenses are actually the strength of the situation we're in this specific week. So I think run games, meaning keep it on the ground, meaning slow the pace, or I guess make it faster for us watching, either way if you want to talk about it. Fewer possessions means fewer total points.
I agree with you 100%. It's like we're copying off of each other's homework here. We talked about it during the entire show. Eagles, #1 rush offense. Jets, best rushing game of the year last week. It's good for the young quarterback and helping his development. A friendly running game. That's a quarterback's best friend. I think you're going to see lower points in this one than the 45.5. But hopefully the Jets come out on top, of course. Cynthia, great job as always. Can't wait to do it again next week. Enjoy football on Sunday, my friend.
Oh, you too. I will talk to you next week.
All right, that is Cynthia Frelund. I'm Dan Graca. Thanks for joining us again here on the Numbers Game presented by WynnBET. Betting is a team sport. Bet together at WynnBET. So long, everybody.